In the 90s, Playmates Toys made the deepest line of Star Trek action figures in history. My name's Keith, and I'm a collector working towards owning all 284. I've been a Trek fan for almost 35 years, and most people are sick of me talking about it. But somehow I've convinced my old friend Mike to review them with me on Look at My Star Trek Toys! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Look at My Star Trek Toys. It's a little show where I, Keith Barney, show my old buddy Mike and Deglio my Star Trek toys, but it has clearly expanded. We have customized into a whole nother sub-show of the show, and that is showing your customized action figures, Star Trek action figures, the incredible artists all over the country, all over the world, who have sent in increasingly extraordinary work. Very excited to show it to you. Mike, how's it going?
It's going great, Keith. I know we've still got a ways to go, but I want you to know that CEO Jen, who's my wife and the financial supporter of this whole enterprise, had an idea for what the show becomes once we run out of your toys. That would allow us to not only branch out, but to also continue to look at great custom work here and there. It's something called Keith and Mike Look at Your Toys, where we go out and we look. We could eventually, when the world opens up, we can go to places. But until then, we can virtually visit with people who have toy collections that are maybe not Star Trek based. Action figures will stick in that world, or other toys, and we maybe beam into their homes and look at some of their best top items in their collections and show them off, and just like bounce around and look at a whole bunch of different stuff. It sounds pretty fun to me.
That sounds like a scheduling nightmare.
Well, listen, can we not just live the dream first before we shit right on it on the internet? Jesus.
Look, you frequently will pitch me ideas on the air that I have never heard of before.
Yeah. Well.
No, it's an interesting idea.
Hey, let me ask you. Let me ask our friends. Would you guys want to see that content? Would you like to see Keith and Mike looking at everybody's different toys, different collections, maybe expensive ones, things that we shouldn't touch anyway? Let us know.
That is definitely the best way to do it virtually, so I can't knock it over.
And helping Keith and Mike pay for a scheduling app, apparently, so we can make this all work. Patreon.com/KandM. If you haven't joined the excellent bridge crew of our patrons yet, you can do so. We're looking for a weapons expert. Alan Zimmerman, Jorge Navoa, Cloudlover69, Brian Kaufman, and Casey Clark. You guys are the few, the proud, the dumb enough to give us money.
Yes, indeed. But, what they're getting out of that includes lots of really fun stuff, including bonus episodes, AMAs. You can watch Mike watch Deep Space Nine. We've got the behind the scenes of our Out of Practice podcast, plus lots of other stuff that we'll be developing moving forward. You can slide into our DMs.
And this month, I think I get to pick what our watch along is. We did an episode of TNG last month, and I think this month it's my turn. And
what's it gonna be, Mike?
I don't know. I got some thoughts.
Okay.
I'm not gonna reveal just yet, but if you have a suggestion, go ahead and let us know. Patreon.com/KandM.
And so I have an announcement. Which is something fun coming up. So I know a couple weeks ago I teased the episode of Star Trek that I wrote and directed with my brother that I was going to show when we hit 1,000 subscribers. But I've rethought it, right? I think perhaps we should drop it at 500 as a way to help us make the leap to 1,000.
I love it.
And I have to say, I'm proud to say that I am a good enough brother that I just now texted my brother who did this with me, saying like, "Hey, before I pimp this out too much and put it on the internets, are you okay with that?" And he's like, "Yes. Don't tag me in anything." But I actually have permission to post it up. So
and because of that text, Keith, just so you know, because of that specific text, clearly I've put the pieces together. That's why we just got our newest subscriber, Paleface Sound, not tagged. I'm just going to say it on the internet.
Oh, that's a completely different brother.
Oh, wow, that's an ironic he probably was like, "Yo, we should probably subscribe to Keith's channel."
we Brian's he's like, uh, we need to be aware of what he's doing so we
We're
can shut
terribly
it down.
unsupportive, and more importantly, we need to be aware so we can shut
We
it
need
down,
to
yeah.
be able to pull the emergency brake. We have to know it needs to happen. That's really funny. Yeah, so there it is. When we get to 500, we're so close, folks. So, if you want to see this, fine cinematic achievement. You know, sign in as your mom, sign in as your cat. You know, use one of your many pseudonyms you use to write things you're not proud of, me.
Mhm.
And give us a subscribe. And while you're there, give us a like, and we'll very much appreciate it. And it helps us produce more of these shows. So, without further ado, because we just adoed a lot,
Mhm.
uh, why don't we start looking at some of this week's amazing custom Star Trek action figures? Starting with two from our new friend Colin Degen, who we featured a couple of from last episode, but of course I spelled his name wrong, so we got it right this week. And let us take a look at our first figure, and that is Lieutenant Saavik from Star Trek 2. Now, Mike, I know what you're saying. You're
What is
like,
that, Keith?
but Keith, they already released a Lieutenant Saavik figure from Star
It's
Trek
true.
2.
You're absolutely, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, of course it was. But not in her away team jacket. And so we have this really cool customized figure here representing the away team jacket.
Sweet.
Of course, in Star Trek 2, Saavik was played by Kirstie Alley and then was replaced by Robin Curtis for Star Trek 3 and 4. And here's what Colin said. With the 40th anniversary of the theatrical release of Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan coming up this week, June 4th, last week, I thought I would show you some of the custom figures I kit bashed for eBay auctions. My
Hmm.
favorite was this 2-pack of Saavik in her away team jacket, and another figure we're going to show you next, but I'm not going to say what it is. For Saavik, I obviously used the head from a Playmates Saavik figure and combined it with a torso from the Starfleet Academy Deanna Troi action figure. I
Oh,
painted the torso maroon to match the film and used white paint for the collar, elbow pads, patches, and uniform piping. I also applied a sticker to each arm on the one seen in the film. So I think we have another view of this figure, Mike. Let's take a view. Oh, okay. So there's where you can see the sticker applied to the sort of patch, the mission patch on her shoulder. Yeah, I gotta say, it's very impressive being able to make the transition to the away team jacket because it is such an iconic jacket that she wears in the film. It's very impressive how seamless this figure is, and it helps, of course, if you're able to cobble it together from existing figures. But I think it looks great, Mike. What do you think?
really cool. Really cool. The customs are always so damn cool. The jacket specifically, awesome. I love the texturing in the collar and everywhere else. Hair's awesome. Yeah, just a great custom, Keith. I bet you're jealous you don't have it.
For sure, for sure. And I know a lot of customizers will talk about how useful the cadet series uniforms or the figures are for customization because they have such a different body type and uniform type that is a great base to build a lot of other things onto. So let's take a look at the other side of Colin's twin pack from Star Trek The Wrath of Khan and take a look at Joachim, who was Khan's number 2 in The Wrath of Khan. He's like little mini Khan because he had the super cutout on the shirt so you could see those abs. And but it's of course played by Judson Scott in the film. And interestingly, never credited in the film. I think he even has a line. I don't
Wait, are you
understand
telling
why.
me that you're telling me that this figure, this is not from a produced figure? There was no other Joachim? Like, what is that
No.
face? It looks like him.
Well, here you go. For Joachim, Khan's first officer and helmsman aboard the Reliant, I used the Playmates Khan body and replaced his head with a head from a Sequest DSV figure, also produced by Playmates, that resembled Judson Scott. I then placed a thin orange sticker over the top of his forehead to simulate the headband used in that film. So I very very cool, very clever. I know that the Sequest line is used frequently with customizers because it's the same scale and same
Mm.
company, so it can make for a pretty seamless change there. But really cool. I definitely, I mean, Star Trek 2, of course, one of the most iconic Star Trek films out there, and many people's favorite of all time. That deserves its own line. And actually, Playmates in 2022 is sort of starting with that.
Mm.
They have 3 figures from Wrath of Khan in their first line, so maybe we'll start to fill out and get the rest of these figures here. Um, but it's seamless. It's beautiful. It's great. Very clever, and also, um, again, like I find it so impressive when the customs can seamlessly integrate into the rest of the line.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you put this up in one of our regular episodes, I never would have a second look.
No, no, not for a second. So very,
And there's an authenticity, not never to shy away from some of the like super customs we've seen with the matte paint and that are clearly just like three echelons above the quality.
mhm,
This one, like you said, the ones that fit directly into the line, that you would never guess that it was different. There's something special to say about that as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's what's great about it is that there are so many different ways to be fantastic at customization, and this is one of my favorites. So thank you, Colin, for those. Send some more. We'll keep
Yeah.
doing it. It's really cool. All right, so we are going to move forward. Spoiler alert, to an
Yeah, I blew it.
original series classic from our good friend JD Ealain from JD's Customs. We're going to see the Salt Vampire from season 1, also known as the M113 creature. First off, look up top there. JD's got his own logo now.
It's about time, yeah.
It's about damn time. And clearly JD is ramping up his business, which is awesome. And look at this figure. So don't go forward any further because I want to pick your brain and see if you can figure out how in the heck he was able to make this figure. Look at that against the screenshot. It's flawless.
And this is not a 3D print?
This is not a 3D print. No.
Um, okay, so it's obviously a sculpt over.
Mhm.
So, um, I'm trying to think. Oop, maybe it's like it could be a wharf, right? It's
Uh,
got sort of the same kind of head shape and hair shape. He could have modeled over a wharf. I'm gonna put my money on wharf.
okay. Well, he says this is my most been my most popular figure I make. Customizing and selling it, I'm assuming. And
Oh, you can see
he
teeth in there.
yes. Yes. Isn't that awesome? So, move forward. He sent the recipe card so you can see how this figure is made because he's clearly made multiples of these. And there it is. It is the
Oh,
Series 1 Ferengi, which is a great place to start because of the weird, wonky, monstery scale of it all and the big floppy arms. And the teeth are already built in there, and you can see that sort of halfway through. It's really cool. So he begins with the Ferengi figure, moves some parts around, obviously massively
shaves the
sculpted
ears
over
off.
and
Yeah.
painted. And he says, in fact, the only original part of the Ferengi you can see is the teeth
Huh.
that you pointed out. Uh, JD, buddy, that's astounding.
Yeah, really cool.
That's so cool.
That is badass. Keith, you might need to get you one of those.
I might need to commission one. I mean, folks, I can I guess if he's selling them, folks, you can definitely go find them at JD's Customs.
And Keith,
And
you know what I particularly like is that no foot shivs necessary because his feet are kind of shiv-like as is.
back to the foot. JD already gave you all the shivs you'll ever need. He found shivs on Super Mega Wharf.
Shivs on shivs on shivs. It's like a cat on a cat.
On shivs on shivs. I mean, that's just amazing.
Just insane.
And
Really
that's
awesome.
and I'm assuming that's hand sculpted layered on top of, I mean, it's obviously layered and sculpted on top of the figure, but is that hand done, or do you have a mold and then you're applying the molded figure onto the other figure? I don't know. But you're able to do all of that while retaining the articulation too.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Pretty special.
That's badass, JD. Very, very cool. Folks, assuming he wants to continue making them and selling them, go buy some. All right, so our next figure is a sort of a underrated favorite of mine from an episode of Star Trek Voyager. And I'm not going to tell you who plays this character, but it is an interesting and big star. And that is, I keep looking for a figure number. There's no figure number. It's a custom. Let's see it. It is the clown from Thaw.
Oh, he looks like a foot soldier from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He definitely does. And this is it's an episode of Voyager where the first time I saw it, I'm like, this is stupid and weird, right? But the more times I see it, the more like subversive and upsetting and scary it really is.
Get down. Sorry, the cat's fighting the green screen.
Hilarious. So this is I like this episode more every time I see it. It involved Cirque du Soleil folks, and it takes place in this nightmare computer program that has turned evil. So super, super fun. Mike, can you guess who it is under all that makeup?
No.
What's up, Tuxie?
I don't have a guess.
You don't have a guess. Well, it is. I'm gonna help you here. It is somebody who was on Saturday Night Live as a main cast member, has done many Broadway productions, and is now more of a dramatic actor who had you might have seen on a Breaking Bad spinoff.
Is that Bob Odenkirk?
It's not. It's not Bob Odenkirk, but related to Bob Odenkirk.
The other guy? Hey,
it's Mike.
Come on. All right, I gotta take care of this. You keep talking.
All right, well, folks, it's Michael McKean, of course, giving a really terrifying performance on it. So here's what JD said. He said, the other figure was the clown from the Voyager episode, The Thaw. Character was played by Michael McKean, who also played Inspector Seedling in the failed Coneheads movie, which Playmates also made a toy line. So I took the head from Agent Seedling and put it on the All Good Things Geordie body, sanded off his ears, and sculpted the hoodie, then painted him up.
Yeah, you did.
I hope you enjoy these. That's so smart. So we were just talking about the other Playmates, the Sequest Playmates figures. I'm assuming these had to have been done by Varner Studios as well. So here's the Coneheads action figure, and you actually get a Michael McKean head. That's so smart.
Very smart, JD.
So clever. And of course, Geordie's body from All Good Things. Wow. Really cool. And I got to tell you, JD, this recipe thing you have here, so great.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely flawless. So helpful. Really. That is really, really neat. And I think this might have been on my list of figures that I wish Playmates had made. As the Michael McKean clown here. he sculpted the hoodie too. I don't understand how he does it.
Yeah, he
I don't
makes it
understand
work,
how
man. He
any
makes it
I don't
work.
understand
Yeah.
how any of you people do this. It's amazing. Um, so yeah, really cool. And it's a very memorable episode. I think, and you know what? Comment below if you disagree. I think it might be the scariest episode of Star Trek.
Ooh, I like a scary.
But it's not scary in like there's a monster. It's like psychologically fucked up and scary, which I think is cool. So anyway, there you go. That is the clown from Voyager by our good friend JD Ealain from JD's Customs. All right, let's go we have a new artist, Mike.
We do?
We do. We have another new artist, another customizer who has a business customizing, and that is Scott Holznagel. And we are going to see two Deep Space Nine characters you have not met yet on Keith and Mike Watch Deep Space Nine. Subscribe below. But this is the character of Moogie, or Ishka as her proper name. Of course, Mike, can you guess who this might be? Who this
Probably.
older female Ferengi is?
You gave me so many hints last time. Also, I'm covering up the handle here. So.
Oh yes, you can find Scott on Facebook at The Journey Continues Star Trek Customs, with a whole mess of. I just picked sort of two interesting ones. There's a whole ton of them, but so at The Journey Continues Star Trek Customs. So yeah, Mike, who? Oh, there you go. An older Ferengi female. Who might that be?
Quark's mom?
It's Quark's mom.
Hey, Mrs. Quark!
It's Quark and Rom's mom, of course, because Rom is Quark's brother. Played on the series by Broadway legend Andrea Martin, then Cecily Adams.
Oh,
So
okay.
multiple people play Moogie. And this is a really cool figure here that we have. And there's there she is meeting Rom. And you have obviously Scott's got a really cool 3D printed Deep Space Nine set to play with, which we'll definitely show at some point. But Scott on his Facebook page, which is where I got this from, has a lot of the work in progress pictures of all these figures, so you can also see how it's done. So let's take a look at how he built Moogie. So you're starting with a shaved down version of the Telosian Keeper, and then sculpting onto the head, sculpting the Ferengi head onto that, adding all of the complicated baubles and bangles and beads, and then painting it. Uh, Able to come up. It's unbelievable.
Extraordinary. That's extraordinary.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, really cool. And then
And
look at the paint
and you
job.
get the final with that incredibly detailed paint job, which is screen accurate. You got the ear necklace thingies going on there. I think what I found when I discovered Scott's work, he has this huge long collection of Ferengi figures that he's customized and are fantastic. And I was drawn to it because I'm so impressed because it's difficult. It's so difficult to create Ferengi figures to hand sculpt the Ferengi faces. Like how it like he picked like the highest degree of difficulty.
Well, not just the Ferengi face, but how about an aged Ferengi face? Because
Right.
clearly, as you can see in the screenshot, it's even more delicate and intricate.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really cool. Okay, so we've seen Moogie. Now let's see another fantastic Deep Space Nine character Mike hasn't seen. It's one of my top 5 most requested by me action figures for
Yeah.
Playmates, and it's Martok.
You got it.
There it is, and we were talking a little bit earlier about seamless into the Playmates line. And this is another example. Scott does seamless customs here, where it really matches the style and detail of the Playmates line. And so you can see how he made Martok. He took the Cisco as a Klingon head,
Hmm.
threw it on one of the Klingon warrior bodies. It could be Worf or Gowron, unclear. And then so he's taken out the eye with putty, shaving it down as he builds that out. And then look at all the detail he put into the hair. So
Yeah.
go back one and look at Cisco's hair. It's flat, it's pretty simple. And then you go forward and you can see all of the hand sculpting to really pull out the detail that he has shaggier hair. He doesn't have that Worf Pantene Pro V
And then
bob,
repaints it.
and then repaints it again. It looks so good, and I love that Scott is able to put the work in progress, so we can see piece by piece painting of the figure and the sculpting of the head. And then when we get to the final figure, it's a flawless Martok. I mean, it's just there. It is. The hair's right. The cutout eye is right. It's a lot of the extra detail in the painting of the body. Mike, tell me what you think.
I first of all, I'm just absolutely impressed by the sculpt. The paint job is so good. Like you said, it's totally flawless. I'm Wow, that's pretty badass. I might have to get you that, Keith. That's the one
I
I might
it,
have to get you for like your birthday.
it definitely, and and I gotta say, looking at the screenshot of Martok there, that's some freaking badass design, character design in the
Yeah.
show itself. I mean, like that is the ultimate badass, and very, very cool.
So he went and he messed with the he looks like he did some sculpt work on the uniform too.
Yes, yeah. I mean, he obviously did a repaint, and it adds the sort of chrome effect to that beautifully, and lots of little details with I think the gold and his baldric added there. Yeah, that's
Really special.
really, really cool work. Yeah, because he had to sculpt the House of Martok baldric, which is different than the House of Moog, which is Worf. Uh,
Well,
so cool.
welcome, Scott, to this program. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of your work.
For sure. At The Journey Continues Star Trek Customs on Facebook, you can see all of Scott's work. Very, very cool. Of course, Martok played by J.G. Hertzler. So, which, if you're not watching Mike and my Deep Space Nine review show, you're
Yeah,
missing
get
out.
on it. Get in on
And
it.
definitely check out the Deep Space Nine review show. And I can't wait for Martok to show up, but we're gonna have to. We just did move along home, so we got a ways to go before we get there. But it's going
Alamarine!
Alamarine. All right,
Keith,
so
let us move to the next Shap.
Shap. Our final Shap is another piece of fine work done in the 3D print and sort of upgraded from the Playmates model from our friend Chris at CRM Customs.
Wow.
Chris Mitchell at CRM Customs, who we're about to record an episode with, maybe on Sunday. And we have Tuvix, which is a character that we had talked about in the wish list here.
That's
Which
insane.
look at that. I mean, it is once again, Chris, his work with the 3D modeling and the paint. One of the questions I want to ask him is how the hell does he paint that? Like, cause it looks like it's airbrushed, but that's clearly not just your typical, like, get a can of paint and a paintbrush. I have no idea how he does that. So questions to ask. But Tuvix here, played by Tom Wright, was a combination of Neelix and Tuvok, a transporter accident, as we are apt to happen, and ended up having a very sort of profound and upsetting episode. It was very
Mhm.
sad, but a really cool character. And I mean, look at that. I don't know how he's able to get that. And we see in the background we have a resculpted Janeway, which also looks fantastic. But you can tell here, and we've actually had Chris and other people collaborate. He'll do the whole body for you, do the entire figure for you, or this is just a head swap, but he created the head completely separately and completely individually, and then popped it into one of the actual Playmates bodies, which is also another way to do this, which allows you to commission from CRM just the heads you want that you can pop into your existing figures. So how cool is that? Uh,
I think we've run out of superlatives for
yeah,
for
no,
this
it's
work,
stupid.
but
It's stupid. We'll just talk to him in person. But anyway, and also, of
which
course,
should drop next week, probably.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
if we get it done. But look at those. The photography back there with the set model behind. It's amazing. It's amazing photography that he does as well. So anyway, just an interesting, like, Tuvix. What a deep cut from a single episode of Voyager, and yet still have all of that emotion on the face, which I think is really the most impressive part of this figure.
And
Is
the facial adornment, just absolutely crazy.
just crazy good work as always. So folks, there it is. That's Customs 8. And if you think that's going to be the end of them, hell no. We're going to keep doing custom episodes probably forever. But anyway, if you enjoyed this, please give us a like and subscribe. Like I mentioned, we got something really fun coming up at 500. So hit us up with that. Mike, tell them what they can get on patreon.com/K&M.
Yeah, you know it. You love it. You can watch me watch Deep Space Nine, and then Keith and I
Mm.
talk about it on the YouTube. You can watch our behind the scenes final season of Out of Practice, which is David E. Kelly's The Practice, with now with more Alan Shore. You can also ask us anything you want. You can slide into our DMs, but most importantly, you're helping Keith and Mike fund this crazy content that you've come to love, and help us focus and highlight all of the crazy, awesome creators out there.
For sure. So thanks for watching. We will see you back here next week with another episode of this.
Thanks for watching. I'm going to leave that in because it's just par for the course for today. I'm Mike Indeglio. That's Keith Varney. We'll see you.
Wow. Till then, this has been.
Look at my Star Trek toys!